Hey, Skylar here from Changeyoucanwear. Today we're making a pretty neat project. So I have a neighbor I've lived next to for like 15 years, and she had a pendant that her husband got her, right as they first got married, or shortly after they first got married, and then she lost it doing yard work. And I want to remake it. So what we're going to do is we have a picture that was taken a while back to reference from, and then she gave me some notes on about how it looked. So what we're going to do is we're going to fabricate a new one out of silver today. So there's a lot of ways we could go about making it. I thought first about maybe carving it out of wax and then casting it, but that's a pretty labor intensive process for this pendant. I think we can get away with just using some coin silver and then rolling it out with a rolling mill and then taking care of it from there. Should be a really fun project, guys. Let's get started on it. Okay, so here's some of the notes that she gave me on the pendant. It looks like this. It's a New Mexico Southwest kind of a design, but she doesn't want to look as Southwesty, so we're gonna taper back some of these lines here that we're gonna engrave later. And then also the widths of this cross are basically a little bit wider, so we're gonna make it wider as referenced from the picture that I have. And I better double check with Mrs. Newbie on if I can use that picture or not. And she said yes. And if she said no, we'll just take this part out. So we're going to reduce the size of these lines. We're going to make the square a little bit fatter. It's going to be about 1 inch square. We'll be making it in silver, 4 equal sides, and then we're going to have rounded corners on this guy. And then we have a 6mm amethyst that's going in the middle. Originally it was just, like a silversmithing cab, basically a round cab that went in there. We're going to do a faceted stone. I think that'll look a lot better. It'll catch the light a ton better. We talked about a loop soldered to the back, but I think that'll be better if we do something that'll make it lay flat. So we'll cross that bridge when we get there. I think we're going to make the pendant itself about 2mm thick. We're going to probably roll out another piece of metal. We'll cut it out with the Pepe Tools disc cutter to give ourselves the right thickness for that amethyst to set in there. And I think that's about it. I think that's what we need to do. So first thing we need to do is make ourselves an ingot out of silver and then start rolling it out with the rolling mill. Let's get started. All right, so we got ourselves 2 ounces of silver we're going to be using. That should be more than enough to do what we're making. Okay, so now we have our ingot all cast. It's about 1 inch wide, maybe a tiny bit more, which is good. We want it to be a little bit wider than we need. And it's a little too thick. It's over 4mm thick right now, and we need to bring that down to about 2mm thick. So what we're going to do now is roll it down with my Pepe Tools combination rolling mill. Okay, we're about halfway down, but it's starting to get pretty stiff, so we're going to re-anneal it and then we'll finish it up. All right, down to the right thickness. Let's get this thing flattened out, get our design marked out on it, and get it cut out. Okay, so now we have this thing all cut out. It's nice and square. And then I took a sanding stick and sanded all the surfaces. getting all the major scratches and everything out. So now that we have it like this, we'll start to draw our square shape on there, and then we'll cut that out and then start to round the edges. And then once that's all cleaned up and rounded, we'll start getting our center spot for our stone all figured out. Okay, we have our marks all scribed on there. So now we just got to cut these outside corners out, and we'll start to see our shape come out of this thing. So now we have this thing all cut out, all cleaned up and rounded, and the right shape. So we have this amethyst we want to add into here, and it's almost 4 millimeters deep. You know, the stone itself is about 4 millimeters deep, and we already know that this is about 2 millimeters. What we really need to do is take another chunk of that piece that we made earlier and cut a circle out of it and then solder it on there, and that'll give us the depth that we'll need in order to set that amethyst. So what we're going to do now is take a Pepe Tools disc cutter, cut ourselves out a disc the right size here, sand it, put it on here and solder it, and then we will start to be able to set our stone. And once we have that soldered, we'll solder on a jump ring for the bail also at the same time, and then once that's done we can set our amethyst. So that is what we're doing now. Alright, I think we got it soldered. Step one done. So now we have it all soldered, and I threw it back in the pickle and cleaned it up. So now we're going to take a wheel burr and I'm going to cut a little spot for this jump ring to fit into so we can solder it. And so cutting it with the wheel burr will help it seat in the right spot, right where we want it in here. So now we have it like this. I think all we really need to do now is clean up our solder with a wheel burr and some sanding sticks, give it a polish, and then engrave our lines on the outside, and then we'll be about done. And then I need to get a bail for the top. I was gonna make one, but really, for this particular one, I think a simple, just handmade or pre-made bail will be the way to go. But right now, I might have to wait to get to Portland. We had an ice storm overnight, so I'll have to get the bail another day. I think I'm gonna do a satin finish with this, you know, I don't even know what this is called, like a satin wheel or something. I love satin finishes so much more than high polish. It just makes everything stand out so well. Ooh, that's kind of cool. Kind of gives it kind of a little bit of a wavy effect. I think I like that. All right, let's set that center stone. Alright guys, I think it's done. It's a pretty simple one today, but I think it worked out alright. Like I said, I wish I could get to Bale, but I can't get into Portland right now, so. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Check out my website, Changeyoucanwear.net, for all the jewelry I make, and I will catch you guys next week. Have a good one.